Hi, welcome to Fitness and Friends with Dr. Bob. I am actually not your humble and charming host, Dr. Bob Ruano. I am Kelly, a Fitness and Friends alum, and
where you were when you first were made aware of that.
Ilya, we have some feedback going on here.
yeah, I'm hearing something.
Yeah.
I'm like, I feel like I hear you talking, but you're not talking.
Regardless of your take, all would agree that the program,
Give us a sec here.
workouts, and the community.
Let's go.
are intense.
Anyway, okay, there we go. So, again, I'm not Dr. Bob, clearly. We're starting off clearly. I am Kelly Watson. I am a Fitness and Friends pal and alumni, and I'm here today to kind of flip the script and turn the tables. I'm going to interview Dr. Bob today. So, without further ado, he is a husband, a father, a wizard of chiropractics. I can vouch for that 100%. A 5-time competitor this year in the CrossFit Games. He is the host of this podcast normally. And my friend, Dr. Bob Ruano.
Well, thank you very much, Kelly.
Welcome.
Well, I'll tell you what,
yes.
you
I wrote that down, so I would.
Right, your first kickoff episode as host, and you get the audio visual
I'm
snafu.
used to it. I have their technical issues follow me. I don't know if I'm creating them or they are just drawn to me. I don't know, but we're good.
That is
I
very
roll with it.
distracting.
I have technical issues frequently.
All right, so we talked about doing this like pretty early on, and
Yeah, I'm excited. I really don't know the things I'm going to talk to you about, so I'm excited to actually hear the answers because I know a lot about you and the recent few years, but I actually don't know the stuff we're going to talk about today. So I'm excited. And when you were giving me just a tiny bit of info last night,
yes,
I like 9 when I text you and I'm like, hey, about that thing you were going to. Right.
I told you I was going to be a horrible guest.
He's like, I'm not a great guest. I'm a good host, but yes, you were saying that you. I've got my glasses on, so I'm extra smart today. You did, I didn't know what your sport was. You know, a lot of people have a sport growing up, and you said that you dabbled, so to speak. You did several different sports or kind of were into different things. And I didn't know that, and I find that very interesting as I've been thinking about it today. I definitely think, obviously, that helps contribute to your CrossFit prowess and your success in the CrossFit Games. And I had never really thought about that before you said that. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that does kind of experience with several different kind of sports and kind of trying out different things and kind of being good at several different things and having experience with that was very helpful in the CrossFit Games because you are kind of thrown out a lot of different things your way. So
well, I think that's it. And like in hindsight is 2020. At the time, I was just kind of going, where my friends were going. For me, it was more about like camaraderie.
That's how I ended up on the golf team.
And fitting in. And I participated in a lot of sports, but I wasn't a standout at any of them. So I
find that hard to believe.
I promise you, but I wasn't. Again, I wasn't. I want to say I wasn't in it for the right reasons, but
you were like
I was
passionate
in it for
about
the
a sport.
right. I was in it for the social aspect of it. Anyway, for the social aspect of it. So yeah, baseball, wrestling, gymnastics, lacrosse, and so I did all of these sports kind of off and on.
I feel like you'd be good at wrestling.
Middle school and high school. I was a 500 wrestler. So, but you know what the crazy thing is? Like I love like the hard training now, but back then, I would get out of the runs. I would avoid like.
Well, I was going to say, do you think you weren't
work.
good at it, or you weren't as successful in the sports as you felt like because you just weren't trying and you weren't passionate, or were you like really trying? Because I feel like you couldn't possibly have been really trying and just not done well. I feel like you must have just been kind of blowing it off or not really.
Exactly. Like I said, I participated. I wouldn't. I didn't put.
You're doing it for that jacket, the leather jacket. You're like, which one of you girls wants to wear this jacket? Oh, I'm not. I'm being dead serious. I get it. I was in high school. I wore a dude's leather jacket. I get it.
It was just all about fitting in. I was probably more interested in lifting weights in my buddy Jeff DiCarlo's basement, and that's kind of where my training interest was in. Almost like it was all about Arnold. Right?
Oh, right.
And he had a book. This is before the internet. He had a book. It was Arnold's Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding. And in that, it broke down every exercise there was. And that was probably the only book that I actually read cover to cover throughout my high school career.
Now, so tell me, like, how did the book get to you? Or where did you get this book from? Or where was your interest to even, you're like, okay, I'm going to start lifting weights?
So my buddy Jeff DiCarlo and I, we used to walk everywhere. This is before we drove, so we're probably 14. And it was probably a girl thing. We would kind of work on our physiques, if you will. and we walked to the mall, and there was bookstores back then, and
These are all the things we keep doing back then.
Back then.
There was no internet. There were bookstores.
Yeah, and
just
so
for all the kids out there that
you had to earn your turn. So anyway, we walked everywhere, but we found his book, Schwarzenegger's book, and it read like a textbook, really, and we learned a lot from that. And matter of fact, there are still exercises that I've learned in that book that I still do almost on a weekly basis now, just because I've always kind of had that.
I did an Arnold press in my fit class today.
Arnold presses,
literally, like as you say this,
21s.
we did Arnold presses in my fit class I taught right before I came here, and I just didn't even realize that. And I was thinking, Arnold press. Oh, Arnold, I get
the
it.
Classics,
like,
exactly. And so. Yeah, that was really kind of what I was passionate about. It wasn't like running and training and doing all that at that point in time.
Right.
And still to this day, I like that stuff. And so in looking back at and participating in all these particular sports, especially gymnastics. Now, again, I didn't do gymnastics at a high level. And matter of fact, after my, I did it through my freshman year of high school. And then I didn't want the upperclassmen to know that I did
was
gymnastics.
hoping you were going to say that. I didn't know if I was going to like call you out on that.
Yeah.
But you mentioned that yesterday in the text, and I found that very interesting and like very relatable and understandable. Like if you think about, it really is. There are stigma with certain sports or certain groups,
especially back then.
Yeah, I mean, it's all the time, even now. You know, I mean, it's kind of just not maybe kids feeling like they want to be labeled, or there's such a high priority on what other people think of you and like fitting in. It's just very interesting that even if it's something that you were really physically acclimated to and good at, you're like, oh well, if the other older boys find out, they're going to give me
that was
hell.
me. And so so I was I gymmed with primarily it was with girls, and so because I didn't want to be found out about that, I quit gymnastics and kind of doubled down into wrestling. I thought it wise at the time to give up training with fit girls and go wrestle around with sweaty boys. If I could go back to that young man,
I was like, I'm like, really? Did you? Did you feel like? I'm thinking you could have
I didn't
spun
think that
this
all the
at
way
that
through.
age. Like, hey guys, what are you doing? Like, look what you're doing. Look what
I didn't have a Fitness and Friends podcast to listen to.
You're in a different headspace as a high schooler. I get it.
So, but having that experience.
Could you do backflips? Were you like that?
Yeah,
you could do a standing backflip. You think you could do that now?
No. It's been several years.
His wife says no.
It's been several years now. Yes, I'm in my bubble right now, but it's been.
I mean, could he physically do a backflip?
Oh yeah, up until probably 6 or 7 years ago. That's probably the last time I attempted to do one.
Yeah, don't.
No. We're not gonna do that. I've snapped and ruptured too many tendons and ligaments and whatnot. So, but yeah, so I did that, and again. Just through college, played some lacrosse in college, and again, but just more a participatory thing as opposed to.
Wait, you played lacrosse in college? Uh-huh. Interesting, because I was under the impression lacrosse was like a new made-up sport. I thought lacrosse was like a new, just the last few years. Well, like, where had lacrosse been before this?
It's a Northeast sport.
Okay, because I was like, I thought lacrosse was like a brand new, like, oh, they have that at school now. That's cute. Like, where's lacrosse come from?
Yeah, that's
so no, lacrosse has been
around.
Yeah,
up in the Northeast, it's a big sport, sure. And so I did that, and so so that's kind of like been the fitness journey. It really wasn't until I was in my 40s. That I kind of put all these things together, with the gymnastics and then the wrestling, and I fell in love with kind of challenging myself,
So with this background though, like, so you did all these different things, high school, college, and then so you graduate from college, you become a chiropractor.
Yep.
You're a dad, you're a chiropractor,
Yep.
You're just in it life day to day. What's your fitness? You haven't done any, the college lacrosse, and now you're just a regular person, not a college athlete.
Yeah, I was a gym
doing
goer.
what? You're just kind of working out at the gym. You're like pumping iron. You're just doing your own thing, whatever.
Chest and tries, back and by, shoulders and legs.
Leg day,
I usually skip that leg day.
Right.
Dad bod.
Yes, and so you see,
did you have a dad bod?
Yeah. Well, I thought I was, I thought I was the cock of the walk, but
you were told you were incorrect about that.
See,
it's a different thing though. It was a different. I think there was a different standard back then. You know what I mean? Like fitness back then. I feel like maybe I'm wrong, but I have this impression. Maybe it's just my impression because I was younger. But I feel like when people now, when you look back at that time, or what was considered fit is different now. People that are fit now, it's like a whole new level of fitness.
Oh, I know. Like at 51, I don't want to age myself, but at 51, I'm certainly in better shape than I was in my first 45 years.
You're 51. I don't know why I always forget that. I'm just a child compared to you. I forget that. But no, that again, because you seem so young, like you have such a young...
I
it's
appreciate
also,
that.
No, it is true though, but it's not just physically. Obviously you seem young because you're super fit, but you have a young energy. You know, you have a young, and it is all mindset and like an energy. And,
I'm all about that.
Yeah, you have a very, that's why we're spirit animals.
Yeah.
Because we're both under the delusion that we're much younger than we are.
No, my uncle called it Peter Pan syndrome. I think it's there's a term out there, and he said even when he was in his 60s, he'd go into meetings, and there'd be guys half his age in some of these meetings, and he said he still felt like the youngest one there. Like,
I have that
what
feeling
am I doing
frequently
here with adults?
Yes, at YogaPod, because there are, there's a various ages there, but there are a big group of people, and a lot of our teachers specifically that are in their 20s, and even people that are like close in age to me, or maybe I'm a little older, or they're older, only a little older than me. I do often feel like I have a hard time gauging ages because in my mind, my age and what I feel like my ages don't really match.
I get that.
So I relate to people, and I'm like, oh gosh, okay, cute. I'm slightly older than you by a couple decades, but that's okay. But yeah, it is. But so okay, I'm curious. So you're just lifting weights. You're just going like, hey, I'm going gym day, doing a 30-minute hour workout yourself.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I basically did the same workout for 20 years, and shocking, nothing really changed over those 20 years.
But so you're doing this for the purpose of just...
I wanted to look a certain way.
This is to look 100%. For yourself.
I wanted to look a certain way, okay? I didn't care what my resting heart rate was.
Right. You're just, this is aesthetics. This is pure aesthetics.
Purely aesthetics.
Okay.
But the thing is, and I really never, straight through, but I never really changed. And it wasn't until I started into the sort of the functional fitness, the competitive fitness, where I let go, and that was a hard let go, but let go of worrying about what I looked like and just worried about how I performed, that the aesthetics changed.
Isn't that funny?
Oh, it was crazy.
I said the same thing. I was so focused on only that up until I got involved with CrossFit, and I was so only focused on the purpose of it was just working out was to be a certain thing and look a certain way. And that was the kind of goal. I wasn't over here like, oh, it's my cholesterol or make sure my heart rate or bone density, it was none of that. And then once I got into CrossFit, but when you're doing like Stairmaster, things like that, it's not impressive, or you're not like, oh, look what my body can do. You're just like, this is terrible and monotonous. But then you get into CrossFit or those type of things, and the exercise was fun and challenging, and you're climbing ropes and you're doing things that are we were pulling sleds and you're Atlas stones and all the things we were talking about with Farah. And then it's like, oh, I can do double unders now. And it was more of a
what can you do
focus of like, look what my body can do. It just shifted from, I don't even care what it looks like look what I'm doing, and I'm beating this time, and I'm doing this crazy thing, and I'm climbing this rope. And then it is funny how when you take your focus away from that, like lots of things in life, all of a sudden now you're like, oh, I've never been this fit in my life, and I wasn't even focusing on that aspect. But now
let's just to show my cards, I do want to look a certain, certain way.
I'm not saying that you're like mad at that side effect.
If CrossFit gave me, say, like no offense to our chess players, but like a chess champion's physique.
If there was no result, it would be less desirable, right?
I think that's.
But I just think for a lot of people, here we go. I just got this.
So that was my dad bod.
Wait, go back to that. I didn't get a look at that.
Oh, straight ahead.
Oh, come on. There's lots of dads out in the internet world that are punching you in right now, and like they're just like, honestly, dude.
2010.
So that was 2010,
but that's amazing. Look at that. That's almost 10 years apart.
That second one, that's just a good camera angle, it's
not a filter. That's you, and a good angle is a good angle, but that's still you. But like, that's just, you're obviously in good shape before, and I do see what you're saying though. But like back then, when you're saying, oh, I thought I was all that, that is for I feel like the introduction of CrossFit and certain other. Really CrossFit, it has made the CrossFit body, and just like you're saying, the side effect of CrossFit for a lot of people and athletes is kind of this physique that is above and beyond what you've had prior when you were just doing dumbbells and Stairmaster or the elliptical in like a gym. You get a different physique when you're doing, Olympic lifts and barbell stuff and all this work. But
I think impressive. For me, and I think everyone's physiology is different. They're going to respond to different training modalities,
or not
different tempos and different different templates. But for me, it was. So when I was like back to that guy on the left, I would do 8 to 10 reps, and that was it. Even though I probably had 12 to 15. Well, when you start doing more like the competitive kind of fitness thing, you are ready to stop. Your mind is, or your body is, but your mind overrides that.
And there's no motivation.
You get additional. And so I like, and I think I've shared this quote before, is a Muhammad Ali quote about like, hey, champ, how many sit-ups do you do? He's like, I don't know. I don't start counting until they start to hurt. And I think that's the case. We have so much more in the tank that we don't explore. And now, there does come a time when you start to get really close to that margin of safety, for injury. But in like the basic bodybuilding stuff, I've changed all my tempos or in templates.
But think about it, when you're just kind of in a gym just a random gym, and you're there and you're just kind of lifting by yourself and you're just doing whatever you're doing. It's like back and buys day, and you're just like, why? Like, what is pushing you or motivating you to like go to your edge and really like go beyond it? Like when you're just there like randomly in the gym by yourself doing sets of 12 to 15. Like there's not. It's such a different mentality that the competitive aspect and just CrossFit and not even competing against other people necessarily. Sometimes just yourself. Like for me, because you guys know I don't like to compete against other people.
You know what? I don't either. I do not like it.
Are you serious?
No, I swear.
Because I really don't, to the point of like I don't do it.
Like every year leading up to, so I say every year, but the last 5 years.
That's a lot. That's a lot of years.
That's a lot of years. Lead up to, I tell Fair, I'm like,
does the shirt say 5?
I don't think so.
Because he's in his 50, but no, it should say 5.
Yeah.
What does it say? Fittest on earth. Yes.
So leading up to, I'm like, it's probably a bit of anxiety, but like competitive wise, I mean that's not my jam. But what it is the camaraderie.
You can't help it if you're just naturally gifted.
But going back to the camaraderie thing, I mean that's what kind of drives me, because I want to see these guys that I've gotten to know over the last 5-7 years, and kind of reconnect with them and share that. It's kind of like a fraternity.
I see that on your social media. I see you guys kind of bantering, and like I see that a lot of these guys are the CrossFit guys, and that you guys it gives me a fraternity
California,
vibe.
Then Canada. I mean,
you guys give each other a hard time and tease each other, and it's like it's really cool, but like also really supportive and motivate each other, and like it's a very cool fraternity of sorts, because it is an elite group. It's not just everyone in the world, and you guys have that in common. And
but you know what though, you go up there, and at least guys like me are a dime a dozen there. I mean, everybody kind of walks around like this.
Is that true, Miss Farah? No, it's not true.
Well, anyway, but everybody is like completely. I know I use this word a lot here, but like extremely humble. No one. There are very few like braggarts in that arena, and maybe part of it is like they don't have to.
But that's also what makes it so desirable and makes everyone keep coming back and wanting to be a part of it, because if it were full of that, it wouldn't even be something great to be in, right?
I don't need to,
But I really think it's amazing that you're saying you don't really like the competition aspect. So you basically just went from being dad doing exercises in the gym to like, what is the in-between that got you now you're doing CrossFit and competing? You just started doing it and you just realized you were really good at it, and you just happened to be really good at it?
No, it goes back to that passion. I found a passion for the training, which, I think back like, gosh, what if I would have had this for wrestling, or what if I would have had this for gymnastics? What could I have done? I don't know. So
isn't it funny how it's an organic thing that you can't like make yourself have if you don't, and you can't not have if you do?
Yeah, and then when I first introduced and I saw the CrossFit Games, I'm like, that looks like fun. That's something I want to do. And I think a lot of people feel that way. And so when it first happened, obviously I was ecstatic. I was like, okay, that's it. The checked off the bucket list. And then, after that, I was like, well, if you go once, that could be a fluke. If you go twice, though, right?
But not even just go. Let's talk about your rankings. Let's talk about your numbers.
Oh, those don't mean anything. The rankings they really don't mean anything. I swear.
Think they do, because that's where they give them out. No, I haven't. I am your friend. I've seen this journey. I follow it. I admire you. And when we were all going, training at Primal, and you were having, big support and posters everywhere. Like, you haven't just gone to the games. I just want to say that you've done really, really well. Like, you've excelled. I don't even know. Tell them. Go ahead. I'm not. I'm forcing you to.
To be honest with you,
I
I don't really, I really don't know. I think.
Like, what are his stats? Like, what are his, like, he hasn't just gone to the games and participated and got number 97. He,
Oh, no. Oh, you like what he ended at?
Yeah, I think my best
13th.
is 7th or 6th. Or
okay,
7th.
well,
Last time we went
Yeah.
6.
Yeah.
and like, out of how many are we talking here?
Well, the beginning of the season was like.
I read the world, but
Okay,
Yeah.
that's my point.
Yeah, it's
so
like-
you didn't just participate and get like number 7 millionth. You got, I mean,
Well-
world of all those millions of
right.
Yeah.
It's like
No,
such
no,
a
no, it's-
huge,
maybe like I don't know, 15 to 20,000 in my age.
I'll take number 7. I mean,
Yeah.
that seemed awesome to me.
Yeah.
I would get like 19,968.
This is getting uncomfortable.
Well, I know a bit. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, thank you.
That's why I'm here, because you're not going to talk about your own self, but like
Yeah.
you are a very successful athlete, and
I'm very blessed. Yeah, absolutely. And whether it's like
hashtag blessed. Quote Caleb. That's Caleb. Caleb.
And that's what makes it hard to like kind of step away from it, because I feel like, gosh, I'm kind of given these gifts or these opportunities.
It really is, though.
And it's never guaranteed that you'll make it back, and so
Because people can have a passion for this sport and not be able to do it. Like it's
Yeah.
amazing you found the passion, and luckily for you, you are also very awesome at it, and that your physique, your just, some people are naturally gifted at things. And you do have a passion for this, and it's interesting to me that you didn't necessarily find a passion. Like, I guess in my mind, I somehow always incorrectly assumed that you had played some sport or had like, because you
right.
are so passionate
Some
about
sort of
CrossFit,
jock.
right? Or just that you were like really into something because you
Yeah.
are so into this and you are
Yeah.
so committed and passionate about it. So it's interesting to me that you didn't find that passion for something like this until a little later,
a little 45
tiny-
years later,
a
right?
little tiny bit later.
Yeah.
And that now you've been so successful at it. And I do, again, to go back to like your experience with all the different things, like obviously gymnastics, obviously
Yes. Oh, big
wrestling.
time.
I mean, all these
Both
these
those.
different, lacrosse, these different things and skills and physical things you were good at is collectively helping you. It's all the different, because it's not a baseball competition. It's not a soccer
Yeah.
competition. It's physical things that I'm sure your variety of experience growing up contributes to your success.
I think like with my kids, my oldest one, he's gotten into wrestling. Last year he got into wrestling, but he played a variety of sports. I like that, kind of just feel it out. And youth sports is way different than when it was when we were growing up.
Intense.
Growing up, I got dropped off at practice. My parents didn't come watch practice. Matter of fact, unless it was a home game and they happened to be available, they didn't come to the games either. It was just something that I did, but that wasn't out of the norm. That was the standard.
Yeah, there weren't like screaming parents and all this like there are
Well,
now.
yeah, or they start them on a sport at like 6, and that's the sport you're going to play until you get to college, which you're going to get a scholarship because
By
we're
then you're
paying
burned
all
out.
this money. I was talking with Bernie today about that. He was talking about like an Olympic lifting or a powerlifting scholarship. We were talking about Ariana. And at the end of the day, because my cousin, she was a collegiate gymnast and full ride, NC State, fantastic gymnast. And I remember talking with my aunt and uncle about it. I'm like, gosh, how lucky are you guys?
Yeah.
Carrie, she's saving you guys from college tuition. And I think my aunt, my uncle said, "Are you kidding me? We've paid for college 3 times over between all the 15 years of
Absolutely.
lessons, all the traveling around to different meets, hotel stays,
Yep.
injuries, medical expenses." I'm like, oh. Yeah.
Ruby with soccer, I mean, they've taken trips to California to here. I mean, it's since she was
It's
like 5, she
insane.
played that. And now she's a senior and she's kind of over it. And
Yeah.
and
That's
that
the
happened with my high
unfortunate
school
thing.
boyfriend as well. He played soccer and he was really good and he could have gone to play in college and then he was over it because that's
Right.
the only thing he'd played his whole life and since 5 and he was
Yeah.
burned out.
So there's probably, and I don't know the neurophysiology of it, but there's probably a lot of advantages to trying different things and actually participating in different sports.
Yeah, you didn't have that burnout or
And
that,
Yeah, that and the carryover, just like kind of mechanically speaking, how your body
There's
moves.
not, repetitive injury or, just you're not like, oh, I can only do this well or like I don't, just that different your body being able to respond to different things and kind of I think that's very interesting that was your background and that I think really gives way to your being so successful in the games and just and not to mention just your physique naturally, you have a build that's obviously worked for you through the games.
And there's probably
I've seen one or two videos of you working out online. Maybe two.
It's my lovely wife.
Maybe 3. I don't know. But no, you're obviously, and that's the thing though. It's not just having a passion. It's that you're also, and that's I'm sure people appreciate you acknowledging that it is also just kind of a gift and a blessing. Like you can have a passion for something and then sadly not be good at it. And the fact that you've been really successful at it is
it's a good thing. Like my passion wasn't basketball. Not many really good 5'4"
I would never say that. I would never say that. But
you know what I'm saying.
I see what you're saying. Yes. Because again, you could love the sport, but probably wouldn't be.
I think our sport is built a little more for kind of smaller athletes.
Yes, I think so.
Just with particularly in the age group divisions, they tend to put a higher value on gymnastics movements, and that's really where that's helped me out tremendously.
Even just for me as like a CrossFit student for those few years that I was, just the difference between like a workout with Caleb or observing Caleb versus like Chris, those two different. Just like in their it is because it's just so different, and it was even noticeable to me in their lifting and the way that they kind of coached the movements because they were just such different body types. It was like a different thing. And and he would say that I do think it caters more towards Chris, your body type.
Yeah, for sure. Build a little lower to the ground.
Well, but however you want to say it. I would say more easily able to add muscle. That's how I would say it. I wouldn't focus on the height. I would focus on your ability to.
It is a height. It is a height thing. You're talking about like cycling
center
barbells.
Of gravity and all that. Yes,
exactly.
Absolutely. Quicker.
Yeah, cycling bar. Think of a thruster, right? So somebody who's 6'2", that bar's got to travel a good ways out.
No, that's absolutely true. I never thought of that. It's like a couple extra, as far as time
just like a runner has some
or even
longer
burpees,
legs.
anything that's like
Oh, absolutely.
I never. Yeah, that is true. So
runners who have long strides. I'm 2 strides for every one of theirs. So I'm not going to be a great distance runner. There's the music, Kelly.
The music, are we already done? I was intrigued by your fantastic story.
Yeah, and I didn't even get into the, anyway, another time. I enjoyed this.
I did.
I was very nervous.
Was very interesting. I know. I don't know why. You don't like to talk about yourself. You don't like to toot your own horn. I'm here to toot it. Toot, toot.
Yes.
I'm here. Yes. The thing is, though, people who watch this podcast, I would assume, are interested in you and your story and what you have to say and follow you because their awareness of you is either a person and their interaction with you as a human, whether they are one of your patients or you call them patients, right?
Yeah.
Your chiropractic patients, which I'm one of your chiropractic patients, which is why I will vouch 100%. You have literally fixed me like 5 times. Literally, he's a wizard of chiropractic. I say that all the time.
I know,
it's real.
I love that.
But, you don't like to brag and toot your own horn, which people appreciate. But, you're very, very amazing chiropractor in and of itself. We didn't even talk about that at all because we were focused on the games. The CrossFit athlete. You're a great husband to my best friend, which I love you for and appreciate.
She makes it easy.
But you are. You have a lot of accolades, and the people who watch your show want to know more about you and are interested in that. So I think I didn't know a lot of that history, and I'm actually your friend. So it was very interesting to hear your background and how you came up to be the man you are today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You did a great job. So
thank you.
Are you hitting me?
Oh yeah. The questions.
Oh okay. Crap! The questions.
The questions. Is there ever been a point in your life where you were kind of, a proverbial rock bottom, maybe kind of just feeling a little hopeless, a little worn down, and now in retrospect, something that had occurred that seemed like it was kind of a real negative had turned into something that was a positive?
So there's a lot of them, and really that's kind of what inspired me.
Every adult.
Yeah, it inspired me to do this show because, as I'm getting older, I'm looking back on these things and I'm like, gosh, if that didn't happen, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I can think of 3 or 4 of them, but I'm going to take this one out of the athletic realm and put it into the interpersonal relationship realm.
Oh, good.
And professional realm. They're kind of. So I had this long-term girlfriend in high school and in college. And at the end of my freshman year in college,
the gymnast.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say it.
So in college, again, we're talking about like finding passion. I picked a major. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I mean, I think my high school guidance counselors told me I needed to get into like the cemetery business or something like that. I'm not even kidding about that. But I didn't think I wanted to go there. My friends said, oh, you need to go into sales. And I'm an introvert, so I didn't want to do that either. So I saw this major. It was inside the it was called database management, business administration, database management. So I'm like, okay, that sounds like something I can get a job. This is the late 80s, early 90s, and the computer technology horizon was about us. And so I picked it. I finished. I went to Pittsburgh. I took a job. I'm from Pittsburgh, PA, and I did this job for about less than a year, sitting in a cubicle on a computer. I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah,
I can't do this for another 30 years. And at that same time, actually, prior to, I was in this 3-year funk because I got dumped by this long-term high school / college girlfriend in a major way, crushing way, crushed my soul.
I feel you.
And so I kind of just, languored through life, took this job in Pittsburgh, sitting at this desk thinking, this is horrendous. It's like that movie Office Space. It was the same thing day after day. Can I tell this quick story about this job?
Lumberg? Yeah, let's hear it.
Elio, I need just a couple minutes on this. So I take this job. I'm new, 2 weeks into the job, and my manager comes over and he says, "Hey, Bob, can you change the water tank on the water thing?" I'm like, "Not a problem." I've never seen one of these, or I've never changed one. So back then, now they have these these special filters where you put the bottle over and it pops the seal and the water comes out. Well, back then you had to take the top off and you had to be real quick about throwing these 30 or 40 gallon or pound water tanks onto the machine.
I saw many a spill in the day.
That was it. So I take this, I go over there, I knock over the water thing, the 5-gallon thing spills all over the place, and he walks by. He's like, "Have you ever done this before?" I said, "No." He's like, "Why didn't you ask?" I didn't want to be that guy.
I thought I would just do it. I thought I could just put the water on there.
So that just set the tone for the
I don't think
the
this
rest.
is my place.
It wasn't.
This
So
is my niche.
So feeling really low, a friend of mine moved to Atlanta, and he started managing these health Crunch.
Oh yeah,
there's a fitness facility. He's like, "Well, why don't you move to Atlanta, and I'll give you a job while you find something in your field." I was like, "Maybe that's what I need," because I was, like I said, I was, still dealing from that. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, now I'm in a career that I hate, and when I started working at that fitness facility. I met these guys and girls who were students at the chiropractic college. I didn't know anything about chiropractic. I knew they did something with your spine. I knew my spine was vital, but I also knew I didn't want anybody crunching it. Oh, to me, that was like fingernails on a chalkboard. But when they explained to me what it is they did, I'm like, that seems pretty cool. And they were all very fit, very active. I say that, but all very active. And because of that move to Atlanta, it happened to be in the same location or town as the world's largest chiropractic college. And
it's not weird.
I decided to go back. Yeah.
Divine intervention. I mean, and it's
exactly
so weird because
right.
It's not even just and again, I'm saying this because I've been your patient for years. Mm-hmm. It's not even like he's just, he went to chiropractic school and he's a chiropractor. He's fine. You are a wizard of chiropractic, genuinely. You have fixed things in me countless times and every person I know and family member that I've recommended.
I appreciate that.
So it's again interesting that you were just like, here I am. I didn't even realize you'd gone to school for something else. I just figured you would always, because you're so good at it.
I just happened upon it. And so there was, I said, I started taking night classes because I had to do all my biological science courses before I could enter into the college. And I said, if I can get through physics and organic chemistry and all this stuff, then I'll do it. And I did, and so the rest is history. But yeah, if not for that major dumping, and figuring it out, I just don't I'm not a computer guy. I know my wife will find that crazy that I'm not a computer guy. But
I think everyone can see that.
But yeah, and so I think I'm very
amazing
I'm
how
very
things
thankful
happen.
for that.
But again, things happen for a reason, and that it's very interesting because you are very successful at both things. All things.
I feel like it's taken a lot of years, but I've got this really, really good.
So getting
balance.
dumped, it ended up well for lots of you. So
it did.
The exercise.
That's it. Yes.
Okay. One exercise you could only do one the rest of your life. What would it be?
Gosh, man, I hate to hijack my last guest's exercise, but the Turkish get-up.
He was right, honestly, and it's funny because he knows that's
He
my
does.
favorite as well. I was always there for the TGU. It's my favorite. Like, I love a TGU. I would do like 100 TGUs at home, just like work out while I was just watching TV because I just like them. I mean, now this was not recent.
I mean, because a lot of our exercises are very singular, planed exercise.
It's so good,
and that is not. So I hadn't thought about it, but I do. I like that one, so I'm going to take that one.
That's a classic. Okay.
Well, Kel, thank you for taking the helm today.
Thank you for letting your viewers, your friends, the people interested in your life hear and learn a little more about you. It was very interesting. It was really nice to know and hear.
On a programming note, next week we will not be here. Our famous producer is heading off down south for a nice, well-deserved week vacation with the family. And the week following that, actually, it's going to be pretty exciting. We will be in Madison, Wisconsin. I'll be competing at the CrossFit Games, and I'm going to be doing interviews in the warm-up areas with whatever athletes we come across. Yeah, it's going to be cool.
Nice.
And so what we'll do is we're going to put together a collage and
I want to hear how that came about. Actually.
Yeah, and of different interviews from different athletes from literally all over the world, and so that should be pretty enjoyable. So I hope you tune in for that, and I think that's it. Yeah, thanks for wearing the shirt. The shirt looks great on you.
The shirt's awesome. Thank you. Here to support.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's it. So I hope you guys have a great week, and hope I didn't put you to sleep with my story. But
not at all. Thank you.
Yeah, and we will catch you in 2 weeks then. Have a great day.